Alrighty, welcome to the Carbs Cast podcast. I'm Oli, and I'm here with my dad.
Emilio, come on.
Yep, and we we're back after a long hiatus.
Another one.
Yeah, it's you know you get busy, and you just got to put it aside for a bit.
Well, life changes. Even though I think we talked about last time, like I do miss recording every week.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, but life definitely changes. So
Mm-hmm. Well,
once a month, I guess, or
once a month.
once whenever we can.
I think the last one was last month. It's not quite exactly a
Yeah,
month to this day, but it's a month ago.
I was looking. Yeah, you're right. Yep, yep. So here we are, a month again. Well, if you guys want to donate a bunch of money so we can quit our jobs and podcast every day,
That would be insane.
we're more than willing to take that money.
Oh yeah.
Oh
So
yeah,
so you had the idea for the podcast topic this week, and you want to tell people what it was?
I did.
Yeah, you're the one that brought it up.
That was my.
Yeah, like yesterday or something like that.
Excuse me. Trying to think. Well, I mean, you said survival in the
Yeah,
text today, but
and that's exactly what you told me.
yeah. Oh yeah. I'm not sure. I was trying to think of what. So yeah, just I mean, I guess just survival and every. Well, what was our conversation about yesterday?
Nothing. You just said I don't know why, but
Do you
survival
remember?
comes to mind, and then after that, I was like, for what? The podcast? And you said yeah, and that was it.
Oh yeah.
So it must have been on your brain.
Still doesn't get me where I'm at, but no, yeah. I mean, just if you think about like, uh, well, I guess kind of where I guess what gave me that idea was where you're at, where I'm at, where everything's at in the world. I mean, the reason we can't do podcasts like we used to is, I mean, I think mostly on my part, where uh, like my work has changed, so I'm working a lot of hours
Hmm.
just to survive. And then I know you moving out, which we talked about, I think the last podcast, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was literally the last one.
And how you're a big boy now, and uh, well, not just like I mean, just being an adult now, like going out and having your own place and trying to make ends meet and just trying to survive.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
I think it's kind of where uh, that thought, and then everything that's going on in the world right now is kind of just all crazy. And as much as I know a lot of people don't like to think about it, and I don't like to, but I do think about, like I said, the things that are going on in the world right now. What if war came to us,
Hmm.
and how would we survive? I guess is kind of where I was getting with just how we're. I mean, your survival right now is a little bit different, but not much different as far as trying to make ends meet compared to mine. But like if war was brought into or just any kind of situation, it doesn't even have to be war. Like
Hmm.
weather can make a huge difference
Yeah,
on
it can.
anything surviving. I know we had the snowmageddon here in Weiser. Oh, I mean, like 4 or 5 years ago, and that was pretty intense.
Yeah, I think it was the
Um,
entirety of Idaho that year.
yeah, yeah. I mean, buildings collapsed. We lost our only grocery store here in town, so
Hmm.
then everybody was panicking. So I don't know. I think it's just a combination of all of that. I was just kind of thinking like survival. Like, what does it take? What are we doing in normal day life to survive? Whether you're thinking about it or not, like that's what we do every day. not necessarily in our circumstance where we're like um, um, starving and just trying to make it to the next day. But in a way, we are. Every day we go to work, it's that is what we're doing. So I don't know. I was just kind of just a broad everything. I'm not
Yeah.
sure where that came from,
Yeah, that
but
was one thing I was thinking of is like what kind of survival were you even thinking of? Because there's so much that people can consider like survival in different
yeah,
scenarios and things like that. So that was
yeah.
one of the
Well,
one of the things I was wondering.
and that's kind of like what I was saying is it's just different. Like it could be just surviving the everyday grind,
Mm-hmm.
or I mean, if you want to get extreme, and it doesn't have to be a war. I mean, the economy could just take a big old dump, and we can have the depression, and how do we survive that? Or even worse than that, like there's absolutely nothing. There's no money, and going out into the woods, and or just you're urban, just trying to make ends meet. Not ends meet, but like, how would you survive? There's no power. There's no fuel. There's no
Mm-hmm.
communication, electronics. There's no nothing. Like, how would you survive that? Or how, as a person, how would you deal with that? Like,
Mm-hmm.
mentally, and even more than that, like, just could you do it? Like, what? Make a fire.
Yeah,
Go. Like, how would you make a fire?
I don't know. I
Well,
know
there you go.
there's tons of ways to make a fire, but like I mean, I've never made a fire with anything other than like a lighter.
Yeah.
you know, I mean,
Yeah.
like obviously one of the easier ways to do it is like glass and sunlight with your whole setup, but um, that's not always guaranteed either. So it's really why like it's one of those things where like why don't we know it, but at the same time a lot of us don't go out and learn it.
Yeah. And it really doesn't take that much. I mean, so
No.
you think about fire, uh, like what does it provide? Pretty
Oh,
much
everything.
everything.
Yeah.
Like you can sanitize, not
Yeah.
sanitize, uh,
Sterilize.
sterilize, water. Or,
Right.
yeah, I
Sterilize
mean, it does
water.
everything. It
Yeah, you can do.
cooks, it heats, it. You can clean your water with it. You can clean your clothes with it. You can
Mm-hmm.
just. I think fire is like the biggest thing, and if um, I, for me, fire has always been one of my favorite to play with. Um, so I always tried to learn. And I mean, back when I was a kid, like we didn't have internet, so we went to the library, and like I like to read books on Indians and pilgrims, and you know cowboys, and all that kind of stuff. Like, um, so I learned some stuff, and I've never really practiced a whole lot of it, but just messing around with fire and trying to like rub the sticks together. Tell you what, that's a pain in the butt.
Yeah, I was like, I'm pretty sure that's like one of the harder ways to start a fire.
Yeah,
Like,
it
it's
is.
probably like
I mean, like,
the last ditch effort.
well, and I mean, they did it, but
Yeah.
like that that process alone is such a pain in the butt. Um, and that's like under like to get. I mean, I've seen guys do it in a couple seconds, but it's all TV and stuff. But that's like dry wood.
Yeah.
Like, what if you didn't have dry? What if it was just not even like soaked wood, like just
Yeah.
damp wood?
Yeah.
It's even that much harder. So like, what other options do you have? How else can you make a fire?
Yeah. I mean,
I got,
he really. I mean, there isn't much you can do with damp. wood to like start a fire off of nothing. That's kind of it's kind of rough if you really think about it.
And it is. It really is rough. Like you have to come up with some kind of dry source of burnable material.
Hmm.
I mean, it can be done.
Oh
Um,
yeah, there's plenty of things. Even in the snow, people can find dry wood and dry material. Which you think, how
yeah,
is that possible? But it is. It's possible.
yeah. But there again, survival. Like, what are you gonna quit,
Hmm.
or like, are you gonna fight to get that flame?
Yeah.
I mean, in the snow, a flame would be amazing. Uh, one for heat, but also you can melt, snow
Yeah.
to make water that's drinkable. So, uh, but I mean, fire, I guess, is probably one of the biggest things. But what else would you do? I, what is that movie? What's Will Smith?
The
The
zombie
zombie
one.
one.
Yeah, I Am Legend.
Yeah, I Am Legend. I like
Hmm.
how he goes through houses and picks out different canned food, and like he brings it home and he rotates his stuff. Like
Yeah.
that stuff to me, I'm always kind of thinking about like how, like if we're in that kind of situation, like what should I do, or how, you know, how can I prepare myself?
Yeah.
What's good to keep, what's not good to keep. Not even necessarily fire, but you know,
Yeah, and that's the
we do
thing
have
is,
abundance of food.
yeah, most people don't think of this. So like, if this goes down, everybody's running to the store because that's all they know is, oh,
Yep.
there's food at the store. But then they realize that everybody else goes to the store as well, and it gets backed up, and people buy too many things, and then it's just not a reliable place to get things in as a situation is happening.
Yeah.
You have to be. I mean, I know every single one of us is guilty of, you know, not preparing, but
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
it is it
Absolutely.
is it is very important to start when you can. And it's harder for some people when money and blah blah blah, but it's
Well,
important
and
to do what you can.
even preparing, like it doesn't have to be. Which obviously having like food,
Hmm.
stuff that lasts, having the knowledge to survive.
Yeah,
We have
that's what I
we
was
have
gonna say.
internet. Yeah, we have internet. We have YouTube, Instagram. All those short clips. I know myself personally, I learned a lot from these little short clips. If you want,
Hmm.
I know you can like, just go down the rabbit hole on some of it, but a couple little short clips and how to start a fire real quick, or you know, preserve food or whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
That
even say you have no money to buy food or whatever. I mean, I'm sure most people are close to a library, which are all free. So you
yep,
can go use their internet, get a piece of paper, write some stuff down on the paper, and keep the paper near you, and just rinse and repeat whenever you got time. And then you know a little bit more. And if you're writing it down on little notepads or something, then you have all that information stored for a while, for
yep,
long enough.
yep, yep. I think, well, even learning how to cook, like,
Yeah,
I
that would.
mean,
I think like learning how to cook. Most people would be like, well, why is that a survival tactic or whatever? Like, you just throw meat on a fire, it's cooked, right? That kind of cooking, but like not only the whole sanitation of food and making sure you don't catch things from it, such as like salmonella or whatever, but also
mhm,
cooking is gonna help immensely with your mental like fortitude, because if you're gonna
mhm,
have like a good meal, it's gonna be a lot better for your mental health than having like some disgusting thing that you don't want to eat and you're only eating it because you have to.
yeah,
I mean, you can make food or make good tasting food even from stuff out in the wild. It's like you don't have to have all these crazy seasonings and stuff that you find at the store. You could literally use plants and vegetables and things like that from the wild, and it'd give you different flavors
Yeah.
too than what we're used to.
Yeah, I think like well, and I seen it's kind of funny because well, one of my hobbies is fermenting, and dandelions
Hmm.
pop up every spring
Yeah.
in the groups that I follow, and um, me and Darcy, she's come across some stuff, and I've come across stuff, but about dandelions, like what they're actually have some nutrition to them,
Hmm.
but even at that, like kind of knowing that stuff, like
Yeah, what you can and can't eat is a big thing that,
yeah,
I mean, everybody
yeah,
knows that. Like, oh, if I'm in a survival situation, I need to know what I can and can't eat, but they don't know what that is.
yeah. I mean, I can't think of the plant. They're all over the river. Oh, anyway, they're poisonous if ingested.
Hmm.
Um, which when I first heard that, I was like, "That's dumb. Why would anybody eat that? Like, it's a weed on the riverbank. Like, why would you eat that?"
Hmm.
And I mean, you think about it, like somebody probably ate it because they were starving.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's where that information came
Yeah,
from.
yeah.
The same with like
I actually looked up.
mushrooms and stuff.
Yeah, mushrooms are. I'm pretty sure we talked about mushrooms before,
They're
but
nasty.
yeah, they're nasty, and I don't trust them, and I would stay as far away
that's
from all mushrooms as
that's
possible.
the bottom line.
Yeah, because I don't know anything about them. So not only do I think they're just like gross, and I just be like, whatever. Um, but I don't know anything about them, and because they're so dangerous and they can look so similar, I just wouldn't touch them as long as I could possibly hold out.
Yeah, and I don't know. Other than tricking your mind, like if do they have that much nutrients in them? Like if you were starving to death, like
I think they'd have a
I don't know.
good.
I guess that's something I'd have to look into. Like so again, like just information, knowledge is
Hmm.
so important when it comes to any of that. And
Yeah, I looked up like the nutritional value of dandelions, and they're not
yeah,
terrible. It's kind of weird. Like you wouldn't
no,
expect
people
it.
make salads out of them.
Yeah, like this. I mean, it has 1 gram of protein per 55 grams of dandelion, which for a flower, that's pretty good. Like
Yeah,
55 grams is a lot, but 1 gram of protein, like you need everything you can get. I mean, it has water, protein, carbs. It has a tiny, tiny bit of fat, but fiber, sugar, all
but you
those
look
different
at everybody's
vitamins.
yards and they're packed full of dandelions all the time.
Yeah. Well,
Just
there you
they're
guys go. If you're
now
ever
down like a
curious.
goat.
Yeah. Just pick a couple of them. Yeah, apparently dandelion greens is a thing that people eat.
Yeah, no, that I've seen salads.
Yeah,
Like I
literally
said,
like the
the
little leaves that
the
come off of them, huh?
the I've seen fermenting.
Mhm.
Um, I've seen it quite a bit, and actually, dandelions are. If you look into them and what they do um, for their ground and stuff, is pretty interesting.
Really?
Darcy was telling me about it one time. She come across like a little video on it or something like that, and it's actually pretty interesting on a dandelion. They're
Hmm.
like really beneficial.
Interesting. Yeah,
I don't know how we got to
apparently they're useful.
dandelions.
Well, I mean, it's just survival foods that people wouldn't think of, I guess. I mean, well,
Hmm.
that wasn't like the point, but that's where we got to. So
I
there you go.
I was looking up years ago. I'm trying to think of what. I don't remember what. I think it was trying to use bark to make fishing baits. Um, and I mean, there you go, survival. It was for a hobby, but
Hmm.
I was looking up bark, and I came across because there's some big, huge trees over here on the river, and they got bark that's like really thick. But I think it's because the trees are so old.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, I was looking them up to see what they were, and I think they're elm trees.
Elm
And
trees.
so I started looking that up, and I just kind of kept reading and reading, and it's really interesting. Um, like bark, especially elm. Well, from what I read about elm, I didn't go into anything else, so I don't know about any other trees. But
Hmm.
um, like the outside, all the way to the inside of the bark, how it's used or it could be used as um, like an herbal. Uh,
Like a tea or something.
yeah, I was gonna say supplement, but yeah, tea.
I mean, yeah, that's what
But
tea gives you.
um, it's really crazy from like different sections. Uh, elm tree or elm bark. Trying to think of all the things. One of the crazy things I remember from it is it can induce labor.
Really?
Yeah, but it can also uh, cause like in certain sections of the bark can actually cause um, oh what do you call it? with the baby um,
I don't know what you're trying to say.
defects or something. I can't even think what I'm like. It can actually damage the baby if you're
Mm,
pregnant.
I see.
Um,
So it's like
so so one side of it, it can help to uh, help with the birth and like get things going like the labor,
mhm.
and the other side of it, it can actually damage the baby. It's super crazy. Like there was a bunch of stuff that just the different layers of bark,
Mhm.
which I wouldn't want to mess around with like unless I really studied that stuff.
Yeah. See, that's the same
But
thing with mushrooms. So
yeah,
some
uh,
things you probably want to stay away from unless you really know what you're doing.
yeah, like there's a ton of stuff that well, like all the different plants. You don't. I mean, if I want some tea, I go buy a bag of or a thing of tea bags, you
Yeah.
know. But
You don't think about what you
I
can
know you
actually
can.
scavenge for and stuff like that.
Yeah, yep, yep. Like right off the top of my head, I can't think of anything other than. Um, I can't even think of
I
anything
mean,
you could make tea out
anything
of.
that's any like plant basically. I mean, you got like lemons and oranges and leaves from
Yeah,
those, leaves from
yep,
flowers. I know they do like all kinds of stuff. It doesn't
yep.
have to be a tea leaf. It can literally be anything.
Uh, Ginger
Hmm.
is actually really good. We used to drink it a lot when you get like a cold or something. I can't remember
Hmm.
what it helps, but you take ginger and you can buy a big old root of it for like $1. And it
Hmm.
doesn't take much to make a tea. And it actually helps quite a bit um,
It
with
helps. It
colds and
helps
stuff
with your
like that.
stomach.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it does.
gastrointestinal tract. Yeah, relieving pain and anti-inflammatory, soothing digestive system, alleviating nausea. Yeah, so pretty much if your tummy hurts, drink some ginger.
Yeah, and like literally, like we've done before, we used to do all the time. Just take a little bit of it and throw in some boiling water and add like a little bit of honey, and it's actually not a bad tea at all.
No, it sounds good. I've been having.
It's got
I've
a
been.
kind of a weird kind of ginger taste.
Yeah, I wonder why.
So
And
it's
see,
got kind of a weird taste to it, but
and this is
like
another
it's
thing for like survival that I want to talk or bring up is that like
Oh no.
because I know ginger, right? You know ginger root. We all know what ginger root looks like. So what does a ginger plant look like? How would you know
Yeah, no
when you're
kidding.
finding ginger? So I looked it up, and I mean, yeah, it's ginger is a root, so the plant itself looks pretty much like any other green plant coming out of the ground. It's it's interesting. It's like long, skinny with like these like grass like big grass tufts coming off of it. Kind of. I don't want to say tufts because it's not like fuzzy or anything, but it looks
Does it
like
kind of look
grass.
like celery?
I don't know what celery looks like before it's all chopped up. See, there we go. See, I don't know anything. This is the thing. I mean, we all don't really know what we're talking about, what we're looking for, and that kind of thing.
Well, and see, the plant on the river kind of looks like celery.
Really?
But they grow like stupid tall. But they kind of look like celery. I could
Yeah.
see how somebody would be like, "Oh, hey, you know,
Yeah. Like honestly, you know what like a blade of grass looks like? You know how it kind of like it's like a stalk and it grows off into little different parts that split off from it?
yeah,
Yeah, that's what ginger looks like, but like 3 times the size or 4 times the size.
huh?
Mhm. It's weird.
What's it? Where's it? I wonder, like, where's it naturally grown on its
Let's
own?
see. Ginger native. We probably I don't even know if we have any in America. Yeah, it's native to Asia. I assume we have some, but I doubt it's like really in abundance. Yeah,
It's funny
it's
because like
Asia.
there's some plants that like we try to grow, and then other places it's like a weed.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it just grows and grows, and like I can't get rid of this stuff.
Oh, okay. So ginger is apparently a tropical plant, so it's not really like I doubt we can get away with growing it in Idaho. Yeah, I found a map of where it can grow in the states, and it's all on the east.
It's cold in this.
Yeah, it does, but it's like middle of America to like
I wonder if it
yeah,
needs more moisture or
yeah, probably.
humidity.
Yeah, because it's tropical, so it needs the heat every once in a
Oh,
while for and that moisture, I
all
assume.
the time.
But yeah, that's one of those things. It's like most people don't know what a lot of this food looks like out in the wild, so they wouldn't even know what to get or what to look for. And
Just
stuff
be
like
like, hey, guy I don't like that's in our group, test this out. See the side effects. We'll take a note.
uh,
But I mean, so we've talked about like vegetables and somewhat fruit. I honestly think if there was nothing around, I mean, everybody that hates meat and is vegetarian or whatever, vegan or
oh, I mean, if we're gonna be honest, they're probably not gonna survive.
well, and I mean, at some point they're gonna get. So I really think like the deer. I mean, it's already hard enough to go hunting. I know in the
Yeah,
area that I live in, um, people found out there's some good elk hunting, and within years, it's been just decimated. Um, and that's with rules
yeah,
and laws and fines and stuff like that. You take all that away, I don't think there's going to be. I mean, it's going to be scarce as far as meat.
hmm
Uh, so I think vegetation is probably going to be the key. But um, I was going to say, even hunting, like the different techniques of hunting.
yeah,
Like, I mean, obviously, you
and
got firearms. I think that's going to be something for a little bit.
yeah, and a lot of people don't
But
realize either. Is like I think I was talking about this the other day to somebody somewhere, but when to hunt specific animals and like when you should eat them and hunt
oh
them
yeah,
because like if you just start killing off a bunch of animals like right away because you're like, oh, we need food to eat right now, and you start killing things off and you eat them all, well, guess what? Now there's no animals in the area, not only because you shot them, but also now they know, hey, we're dying over there, don't go over there. And then you're screwed
Yeah.
because you got to travel further
Oh,
and further away to actually get your food.
yeah.
So it's smarter to hunt
Yes.
in different places and further away while you can, while you have the energy to hunt further away, do that.
Yeah.
Especially in like the summer and spring, like hunt further away. You know, it's going to be easier. And then when snow comes and you can't travel as far, well, now you got closer animals.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Well, and then I mean, if you don't have a refrigerator, how do you take care
Oh
of that?
yeah, I was gonna bring that up too. Is like food storage and things like that. I mean,
Like I I don't know the process. I really think just dump a bunch of salt on it, but
yeah, I think so. Salty.
but where do you get the salt?
That's true as well. I never thought about that. I was always like, oh yeah, you salt your food and it stays.
I mean I've never really looked into it, but there's got to be a way of extracting salt, even if there's not an abundance of salt in the ground. Like there's got to be a way of extracting it from the ground.
hmm
I mean, I've seen deer licking the dirt because there's salt in it. Like
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
there's got
Oh,
to be
we
a
do
way of
have ginger
extracting
in
that.
Idaho. We have wild ginger. Huh. Oh, it looks way different though. That makes sense.
That's it.
Yeah, it looks way different. Looks like little tiny trees.
Really?
hmm
Does it still got the same big root?
Yeah, it does. But it looks like I don't know. It has like these thick little branches with these round leaves on it instead.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah. I
I think,
got looking up edible plants in Idaho. So
oh yeah, what do you come up with?
there's quite a bit. There's not as much as I thought there would be, but there's quite a bit. I mean, onions obviously grow here. Ginger. Cattails are apparently edible. Strawberries, mints, grapes,
Just not the top
elderberries.
part.
Yeah, bite into that. It'll
Have
have
you seen
enough
those
meat.
videos?
Yeah, it just like explodes basically into a nice
Yeah.
little
I
fluffy.
don't know why anybody would try that. It's so dumb.
Hey man, I don't know. They're hungry. Looks like
Those
a corn
videos I
dog.
get or views.
It's funny. But yeah, um, I don't know where to get salt. I know you can smoke. Smoking food works pretty well, and that's another way you can do it. Or you can turn all your meat into jerky through smoke. Um, that's probably the easiest way. Probably the most reliable way to
That's I was gonna say it's
preserve
probably
food.
one of the probably more without having the abundance of salt, like probably the more well, yeah, the easiest route in this area.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, I don't even. I think that's pretty
I
much
cooked
like the
some
only way.
I cooked some pork this evening.
hmm
My barbecue grill is just done, like it's toast.
I told you.
Um, like it's just hanging on, literally
Yeah,
just hanging on.
I know.
Like the whole body collapsed out. But so the last time I tried a barbecue, I tried to use charcoal, and I don't know why. I have no idea why I cannot cook with charcoal. It blows my mind that I can't cook with it.
Hey, I mean, if you're in a
But
survival situation, you're gonna
I'm
figure
the
it
next
out. I
star
mean, you're
because I
gonna
can't I can't do it.
learn it.
I heat them up. They get like turn white, and I put them in the little tray. And the last time I cooked steaks on the I think I went through a whole bag. I still couldn't get it hot enough to cook. Anyway, excuse me. So I was like, you know what? because it's been probably a month since we barbecued. I was like, I'm gonna just use the fire pit, get some logs going real hot,
Hmm.
and cook them that way. I just put a little grill thing or
Yeah, the
grate
little
thing over the
rotary.
top of it, and
Yeah.
they turned out pretty good. Everybody was like, "Oh, they're smoky," and they were.
Well, yeah. I mean,
But
yeah.
I think it a combination of the wood, but I also put a mesquite smoke on it. So
Oh.
I don't know if anybody realized that. So, but they came out really good. Like I
Hmm.
got a nice good sear on them real quick, and then
Yeah.
scooted them over the side.
Yeah, and I mean, there's many
Oh my
ways.
god!
I'm pretty sure I saw someone like burn a log so that it's like hard and doesn't burn much more, and then cooked inside the log that was like burnt. And
Oh really?
yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw that somewhere once. If I'm not, if I didn't, I'm lying, and it was just cool. But maybe we can try it.
We
Maybe
should.
someone will try it somewhere in a survival situation.
But that's what I was gonna say. Well, whatever it takes to survive. Like
Hmm.
I've seen guys cook on a rock,
Yeah.
but I think you have to really be really, really careful on that. Like,
Yeah. You have to, well, I think the heat from the fire is enough to kind of
yeah, not,
keep it
I
safe
don't
to
know. Other
reach.
than like cooking tortillas, which I know like the Indians used to use rock, heated rock to cook tortillas
Hmm.
or bread, basically tortillas. Um, but yeah, you can just cook over fire.
Yeah. I
One of
mean,
the,
yeah. I was gonna say also rocks can be used as like warmth. I saw some dude put a bunch of rocks in a fire
mm,
pit and then like take them out and place them around his shelter,
hmm
and it keeps him warm for a little bit. That could be
yeah,
used
because
as
they
a
radiate that
hostage.
heat for a while.
Yeah, that could be
But I
used as a
mean,
last
there
ditch
again,
effort.
you have to be careful with that because if there's one, if you get them too hot too quick, like a rock is just basically a big sponge, so it holds moisture,
Mm-hmm.
and
Could explode.
when that moisture is heating, it expands basically
Mm-hmm.
in a way. Um, so that rock, you know, I don't know if I said that right. That's
I kind of yeah. I mean, I get it. I think
kind of makes sense,
like
but doesn't. I mean, there's more to it than that. But I know if you threw a rock that had moisture in it, and it has to be a certain type of rock. I've done it before, and I've had them blow up in my face.
yeah.
And that's what I'm getting at is if you're not careful, they will blow up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so if you're going to heat a rock, I think they have to be gradually moved in
Just placed
to where
around it and
yeah,
rotated.
so the moisture is pulled out of the rock because I'm 90% sure that's what it causes the explosion is the moisture in the
I mean,
rock.
yeah, that makes sense.
So you got to slowly move them in. But then once they get warm, like I said, you can cook them off of them, and like you said, the heat. And I know they used to use them back in like the 1800s to like they stick them under the bed.
Mm-hmm.
They hit a flat rock and stick them under the bed and keep their beds warm. Which
Yeah,
to
I
me
mean,
sounds crazy, but
it's like, hey, put this thing that's really hot underneath you and all your clothing
yeah,
and all your
in my straw
flammables.
bed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, the straw is slightly damp, right?
Yep, yep.
But yeah,
I'll
these are
pee
all
my pants.
things
So
to keep it damp.
yeah, yep.
Yeah.
I was so nervous. I peed my pants. Bed's wet. Good
It's
to
for
go.
survival purposes.
Yep, that's gross.
But yeah, I mean, these are all like just thinking of these things is like I feel like most people wouldn't think of them. Most people when they're like survival, they think just like, "Oh, I need my guns and my canned food." And it's like, "Well, no. That's not enough. It'll help you get
Well,
somewhere,
yep.
but it's
I
not
mean, are you
enough.
gonna
It
pack all
doesn't
that
last
shit
forever."
around?
Yeah, that too is I think I was listening to a podcast recently and they were talking about this kind of stuff, and they're like, well, like most people don't carry all that stuff because it's too heavy.
Hmm.
It's not worth it to carry a lot of things like that. So I mean, there's other things that come from that, like stash sites and things like that, where you can move resources that are heavier from place to place and keep them hidden until you get there, or in case
Hmm.
you need them for later, and that kind of thing. It's a lot that people don't think about that will really
Well,
be a
and
changing
I
factor.
mean, even I think if you're thinking about that and you have stash size and stuff like that, that's good, and you probably already planned everything out.
Uh huh.
But even if you don't, and say you have to bug out in a way,
Mm-hmm.
um, like what's it take to get to that point? You know,
Yeah, you
I
just
know
gotta
for
survive
me,
the hard
yeah,
part, really.
I know, I know for us, our cars are always on empty. Uh, so like, let's bug out to the mountains. Oh, cool. Let's stop at the gas station real quick. Can't even make it 2 blocks out of town.
Yeah, and see, that's another thing is like where I'm at. If anything happens where I'm like, oh, this is gonna go bad, I do not want to be here by any means. And
Yeah,
with this
no, I
city, I'm not. Most people are going to be going to stores, getting on freeways, trying to go get gas, and like I want to take the least resistance path to get out. Like most of the time I do have a full enough gas tank to where like I could get over. I feel more safe over where you're at because there's just less
yeah,
people. So I usually
yep,
have enough of a gas tank to get there at least, even if it's like get
yeah,
there, ditch the car because it's done.
yep. Well, and I think there you go again. It's like survival. So it takes about an hour, hour and a half,
Mm-hmm.
um, which obviously you don't have to eat in that time period.
Nope.
Um, you need gas, and but what if you make it 10 miles out of your, where you live, and it just all hell breaks loose, and you have to walk.
Yeah.
Like what does that take? I mean, I don't know what it'd take to walk that many miles, but then you're talking a meal and or uh, um, like somewhere to stay under, like a tent or something. Unless you just huff it for a day and a half
Yeah.
nonstop. But even then, you need water. So
And I doubt most
you
people
know.
are gonna bring tents with them when they're trying to get out. I think that's the
Well,
you
yeah, I
might have
mean,
ever
but
seen
I'm
them
just
bug out
like what
back
it
with one.
what it would take, like
Yeah.
there's somewhere to hide under. Or, I mean, there's
Some
plenty of
shelter.
places to do that.
And I mean, you could
Yeah, a
use the
shelter.
car for
That's what
that, but it's a little risky.
yeah.
Because I mean, think about that as well. Like other people are also trying to survive, so it's going to be dangerous and
Yep.
scary. And most people aren't
Yep.
going to be friendly. And if they see it's just a car sitting out in the middle of nowhere, they might go and try and look what's up. So maybe it's not the
Yep.
best idea to like seek shelter through your car unless you have good hidden areas. But it's all things you have to think about.
Yeah, there is. Well, and I really think the biggest key is water.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, something I was going to bring up a minute ago, and um, something I don't know why, but I've done for a long time, and I'm sure it has to do with the video or something. Um, but when like our town is small enough, like that we'll lose power, and most like
Mm-hmm.
90% of the town is without power,
Yeah.
and it's usually because of weather.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't think we've ever lost power longer than 2 or 3 hours. Not that crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I've always done, and I don't know why, because well, I guess water power has to pump the water.
Yeah.
Anyway, I always fill up the bathtub with water.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when we lose power in it, and it's not like, I mean, there's times where it'll flicker in and out, and it's like, okay, yeah, storm and trees rubbing against the power line somewhere, and we're losing power. But as soon as we lose power for like 30 minutes, I'll go fill a tub of water.
Mm-hmm.
And Darcy's always wondered why I did that, and I'm honestly I don't know where I picked that up from, but to me it's always been one of those. Well, the tub's not very clean.
Yeah.
I know we don't scrub it out every time it's used, so it's not very sanitary. But at the same time, like you said, we can boil it if we had to. Um, but more, I mean, you could do it for that, but also, I don't know if you know this, but you can take, I think you can do it with about a gallon, just depends on how you dump it, to flush the toilet.
Mm.
You take about a gallon, gallon and a half, and you dump it down the front of inside the toilet bowl, and it'll flush it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I think that's more of where I kind of go with that. Um, you know,
Yeah.
you can go, 24 hours without water. I think in a house situation. Um, but most people can't go 24 hours without going to the bathroom. So
Mm-hmm.
take that water out of the tub and dump it down the toilet and flush everything away. Um, but there's multiple purposes out of that, and like I said, I have no idea where to pick that up. But I know
It's
when there's
interesting.
a power outage for quite a while, I'll do that.
I mean, it's smart. It makes sense. It's once again another thing people don't think about that might save you. Cause yeah,
Yeah, and
that's
it's
another thing is the bathroom situation. It's like,
yeah,
yeah, that one's rough.
yeah. You don't think about it, and that's sometimes I don't know. I don't know. I'm not paranoid, and I'm not like prepper or anything like that. But the
Mm-hmm.
stuff I do and I have thought about. But like the bathroom situation, like we got a river right here.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. We got an abundance of water. Like if shit goes down or whatever happens, we lose power. Big storm or whatnot. If the economy takes a dump, whatever. Uh, we have all this water. We can just pull water out of the river and clean it and boil it and you got drinking water. Well, and you see it even to this day in third world countries where they don't have drinking water. They have a river, but there's so much sewage in it that it's not usable.
Yeah.
Which I think if you lost all water, usable water like that I think that's the next avenue is the rivers and stuff like that, and that just
Mm-hmm.
contaminates. And so then what?
Yeah. I
Where do you,
mean, I know Garanthem just did a video as well on like survival in the mountains and stuff like that, or not survival, but like survival and evasion.
mm-hmm,
And he's talking about specifically how water sources are incredibly dangerous
mm-hmm,
because everything
absolutely,
is by water sources. Everything, people, animals. Because there's animals, there's going to be people. Because there's people, there's like going to be other people. They're incredibly dangerous to be around.
yeah,
So it depends on your
yeah,
situation on how much you need that water and what for and who's around you.
yeah. Well, and I mean, you think about water for everybody is like the most necessary. So whether it's animals or people, like I mean, say we're invaded, um, like what would and I mean I don't know military stuff, but what would
Mm-hmm.
be the most natural thing not natural thing, but like the what would you want to
Mm-hmm.
control the people?
What is it, your water? Yeah.
Yeah. So being able to get it elsewhere. I have a well in my backyard. I don't know if you know that.
I did not know that.
Huh. Hey, I was told it's not drinkable, but
Well, we can deal with that later.
yeah, it's actually not very deep, and I think that's why they say it's not drinkable
Mm.
because it
Mm-hmm.
picks up contaminants from above. Um, but even that, like can you dig a well? Like there's natural springs in the ground, which is crazy. Like there's water underground, like
Yeah, yeah, and that's
big
that's
old
another thing is like
cavity.
some people will be able to find those, but I like for me, I'd have no idea how to find that.
You know what witching sticks are?
Yeah, yeah, I've heard about that stuff before.
Yeah, that's so crazy. I
I don't
remember the
know how
first
they
time I seen
work,
it happen.
but yeah, I've heard
I
about it.
have no idea how they work, but I remember the first time I seen it done, I was like, no, there's no way they're doing something with their hands. Like
Yeah,
and like it's just two sticks that I have no idea how they work, but they come together and like, all right, that's where the water's at. Let's drill.
and they drill and there's
So
water.
crazy. Yep, I've seen it done with like normal sticks, and I've seen it done with wire. I think there's copper wire. I'm not sure,
Hmm.
but something I don't know. That's crazy. Like, who figured that shit out?
Crazy people.
Wow, I'm gonna start walking around with
Yeah,
sticks in my hands, figure out where the water's at. Just went randomly.
and then somehow it just started working, and like, oh, wow. Well,
Yeah, I
look
know.
at that.
Yeah. But yeah, there's just so many different things.
Hmm.
But even like you take all that away, like that's just like extreme going back to the old days. But surviving nowadays, nowadays, just everything's super expensive. Like, how do you?
Yeah, how do you prep in a situation like this? That's what I was thinking about too.
Yeah, I mean, uh, cost of living,
Hmm.
rent, mortgage, everything's so high. I think knowledge is probably the biggest key. Like,
Yeah,
it doesn't take much, and it's right there at our fingertips.
yeah. I think that's going to be the most valuable piece because, yeah, you can buy food, but food runs out. Knowledge,
Yep.
I mean, it most likely won't.
Well, and like Grantham, I've watched you send me stuff on him all the time.
Hmm.
Like, he's got so much information,
Yeah, and
and there's him, and there's a bunch of. I mean, even just watching the guys. We used to watch. They don't even talk. They just build cabins and stuff in the woods. Like that's their
yeah,
YouTube videos. They got millions of followers just making little cabins in the woods.
yeah, I've seen
But
that
it's
stuff
super
too. It's really cool.
interesting just watching how the different techniques and stuff like that. And it's just like, oh,
Yeah, it's
I
like,
can
wow,
do that.
I never thought about that.
I did.
It's a
I
little
did
easier
that.
than you thought.
Not easy,
Well, I mean, if
but
you
it
really think
is.
about it, you're like, oh wow, I could never make a house on my own in the woods for any reason, and then
Mhm.
like watch it, and you're like, whoa, well, one guy can do it. I can probably do it.
Yeah. Yep. I just need a dog
Yeah, I'm
and a
pretty sure I
mat.
seen a guy that had a dog, and he built a little dog house for him,
yeah.
like right next to him. I was like, wow, well, he built two houses, so
Yeah. I mean, like I said, the kids love watching those shows or those
hmm.
movies or videos, and I mean, I think it's pretty interesting just to like, well, I never thought about building a shelter like that.
Yeah,
Uh, something simple and then something a little more complex, and then um, uh, God, I can't think of that guy's name. He's a YouTuber. He doesn't do much stuff anymore, but I think he's from Australia. But that guy, he would make like he'd make little shacks out of grass and whatnot, and then you progress on to bigger buildings, and then you start making like mud huts, and
Mm-hmm.
I think the last one of the last ones I watched was he found some clay on the riverbank and started making clay shingles and made a little little house with clay shingles on it, and
Yeah.
it's kind of cool just to see the different things that he used. And he never used anything other than I think it was an axe made out of stone, which even using an axe, a real axe, to cut down stuff is not easy.
No, yeah, no.
So making out of stone
Sure,
and
and then
chopping stuff.
making one that won't break immediately either.
Yep, yep, yep. I mean, there you go. Survival.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't want to try to cut down trees with the rock.
Yeah, no. Be incredibly hard.
My thinking goes back to my blacksmithing. I'll find there's got to be a piece of metal somewhere that I can
Yeah,
forge into an axe.
yeah, especially in some sort of societal thing. You
Yeah.
could just go look around and be like, oh, there's a car. Let me just grab the leaf springs off of it.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. Start a fire and
Mm-hmm.
start foraging. That's where I'm gonna survive.
You know what we should do?
I'll be the.
We should try and make a bow.
Oh,
Cause like,
uh, you
think
know
about
what?
that, like a
That's
bow.
yeah. There's the guy I watch, and I watch his channel grow. Um, that's he made. Excuse me. He's made tons of bows out of all sorts of different material,
Mm-hmm.
um, and a lot of stuff like just random, like stuff you'd find laying around. Um, but I mean that an atlatl,
A what?
an atlatl.
An atlatl?
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
It's basically a stick that has a notch on the back end. It kind of comes up kind of in a, I would say like an L shape on the back end. It basically has a knot on the back end, and that you could set your spear into, and then just gives you a lot of leverage.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah. Um, Look it up. Atlatl. Uh,
Atlatl.
don't ask me how to spell it because I have
Yeah,
no idea.
I don't know either.
Atlatl.
Atlatl. I'm looking at like spears.
Yeah, they're basically it's mostly like a spear, but like the handle part of it is
Oh, I
yeah.
see.
There you go.
So it's like a something that you put a spear into, and then you use it to throw the spear.
Yeah, it's like a lever, like a
Yeah.
not a lever. What do
Um,
you call it?
I don't know, like leverage. I guess I'm not sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's kind of cool. But yeah, no, I was thinking
Um,
because like, I mean, do you own a bow? Because I don't own a bow. I think you do.
a
But like,
bow?
yeah, a bow.
Yeah,
Let's,
I've wanted to make a bow
yeah, but making a bow would be
for a long time.
a good thing to
Uh,
do.
back back when I was trying to get my YouTube going, like that was stuff all on my list, like the Adelaide on the bow. I want to make a bow so bad.
Hmm.
I think it'd just be so cool to be able to make something like that and then take it out and go hunting,
Hmm.
um, and harvest something. I think that would just be like the ultimate. I've made duck calls. I've made Oh, what else? I mean, hunting knives. I mean,
Mm-hmm. A lot of
I
stuff
think
that
it
you
would just,
need, but not all
yeah,
of it.
I think it'd just be so cool to make something that you can go and harvest an animal and then take everything else I've learned, a knife and, skin a deer with a knife. And I've
Mm-hmm.
always wanted to do all of that, like, and, even break that down, like harvest a deer, obviously the meat, the best part, but keep the, keep the hide and learn how to tan it and
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
make a
saw a
badass
video
coat that
on a
nobody
guy.
else.
Saw a video on a guy trying to do that, or doing that, where he was like, gonna tan the hide, and it was a lot more
Yeah.
work than I thought it was gonna be. But yeah.
Oh, it's a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
Lot of work. You gotta get all the fat off the hide.
Yeah, you have to get all the flesh, all of it. And it's not
Yeah.
easy too. Like the guy I saw, he was using like, he's like, here's 3 ways to do it, and it was like he had a razor blade, a knife. He had like all different kinds of ways of doing
Hmm.
it. I think he had one that was like a string, and he just kind of like pulls on it, and the string strips it off, or something like that.
Yep. Yep. It's not easy at all. I know that.
Yeah,
But
that'd be
yeah,
pretty
I
important.
that's I think learning how to make a bow would be, and like just a really simple bow, not nothing crazy,
Yeah, something that'll
not
just
nothing
do its
laminated.
job.
Yeah, just something that can. I mean, I have compound bow,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I mean, I know there's buddies of mine that have really nice compound bows that they still won't take a shot over like 60 yards or something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah, I don't. You can make a pretty simple bow that can shoot 40 yards and
Yeah.
be accurate and deadly, but that kind of stuff I think would be. I want to get back into that. I really wish I can get back into that and do videos and stuff like that of that.
Yeah.
But that and wow, I mean, any of that kind of
I mean, hey, that would be a really good.
survival.
That would be a really good video to do, like making a bow and making an arrow and blacksmithing the arrowhead all in one video.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yep. Yep. Actually, speaking of that, when I put in for Forge and Fire, they one of them. There was actually multiple questions. Like probably came across like 10 times. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
kidding you. Have you ever made a crossbow? And then that question came up like in different versions,
Mm-hmm.
uh, but it came up a bunch of times.
Maybe
Which
they're going to do an episode on it.
yeah, I think they did it after the episode I
Mm.
was on, or right in that season,
Yeah.
um, or maybe it was before. I don't remember. But I thought I was going to have to make one, so I kind of prepared myself and did some research. Um, but uh, that's something I'd want to try to
Mm-hmm.
make too. That'd be cool to make a crossbow.
Yeah. And a crossbow would be a lot easier for people to learn to use as well. Like you bring that into a survival
Yeah.
situation, and like, say you have a small community, and you're like, well, now I need to train these people to hunt. What's the easiest way? Well, bows take a long time to learn, whereas like a crossbow and a gun, it's like you point and shoot, right? But crossbows would be more sustainable in a small community.
Yeah. Yeah. But then you got to teach everybody trigger safety,
Yeah, but
trigger control.
it wouldn't. It'd be a lot easier to teach it to like 10 people than like 300. But yeah, I mean, what's it called? I think I was watching a video on why crossbows became so popular in like the medieval times rather than bows, and it was for that exact reason. It's like, well, bows, it took years upon years for people to get good with the bows and proficient enough to be used in like war, and then crossbows were able to
Oh.
like thunk the crossbow bolt in there and shoot it over there, and it's like not that much training and that whole thing. So it makes sense to go for crossbows.
Yeah. Well, and you can. I don't know that you'd be more accurate with it, but
I don't know about accuracy, but
it definitely.
definitely ease of use.
Yeah. Yeah. Something I want to make. Add to my. Well, I need. I don't have a sword yet that I've made yet, so I need to make one for me and you. And so a sword won't run out of ammo. So
No, but I mean, it'd be a lot harder to deal with, or a lot harder to do, or not do,
yeah.
but like use.
You don't think you can chase down a deer with a sword?
No, I might be able to throw the sword
What?
like a spear and kind of like,
I'll make you one of the Braveheart ones.
the
The big one.
claymores.
The Claymore, yeah.
Yeah, so I can hit it from over here.
It,
Eh, eh.
it'll drag like 10 feet behind you
Yeah, exactly.
as you're running.
But yeah, no, I think a bow would be a really awesome thing to make and really essential.
I've actually done a lot of research on making a bow. Um, we should try to make one. I think
Yeah,
it'd be fun.
we should. We should do it for your YouTube.
They're
I'm telling you.
yeah. Wait, let's do it. I'm down for it. They're definitely not like a 1 day project. There's a lot into them
Mm-hmm.
without making them um, like super like pretty or
Yeah,
just functional. There's still a lot into them.
yeah,
It's a lot of there's a lot of tedious work on them to get them working functional. But still, I think it'd be super fun to do.
it'd be fun and important, I think. Because, like I
Yeah,
said, I mean, I haven't mentioned guns very much, and that's just because, like, yeah, guns are practical and use and easy, right? But they're not sustainable for small civilizations and stuff like that. Because, like, you're gonna have a hard time making ammo for that thing. It's not gonna be easy by any means. Um, it'd be a lot easier to have a guy that can make arrows all day long, and people use arrows than guns and gunpowder and casings and stuff like that.
yeah. I think. I mean, you think about what it takes to make a bow.
Hmm.
I mean,
Sticks and rocks.
yeah. I mean, you don't even have to be like all fancy and do it. You know,
Hmm. Yeah,
make
just
like a really good functional one. I mean, all you need is a string and a stick and or two sticks, and you can make something that you could poke somebody's eye out with. You know,
yeah. Whereas like a gun, I think the
it
closest
doesn't
thing
take much to make one to make a a useful
tool.
weapon of sorts, I guess.
Yeah. No, yeah, like the 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 only gun like that I can really think of that would be like usable in the same way is a muzzleloader, and that's because if you find some crude black, like not black powder, but like if you somehow learn how to make some gunpowder, then all you got to do is just stick anything in the barrel and it'll shoot. but
Yeah,
but like a bow is still, I think, gonna be better than a muzzleloader for survival, I should say.
yeah, yeah. I well, and it's not a bad idea to learn how to make gunpowder either.
No, it's not. It's a very good idea because it can be used for all kinds of things, not just guns.
Explosions.
Yeah, explosions. Hey, you find a rock
I
and
like
you're like, hey, that
explosions.
rock has good stuff in it. Blow it up.
Smash.
But yeah,
Well,
I mean, that's it's a lot of important things to think about.
yeah, I don't think it's. I know. When I talk to certain people about it, they're like, "Oh man, I don't want to think about like the end of the world." It's not necessarily the end of the world, but I mean, think about like people back east with like hurricanes and stuff like that. They go
Hmm.
without power or shelter for days at a time.
Yeah.
It's not World War III, but uh, they're still trying to survive without anything for
Yeah, or
a week or so.
like Texas, what, a few years back when the snowstorm cut out all their power and a bunch of people died. It's like,
Did they?
yeah, you don't you don't remember that?
No.
No, yeah, like a few years back, Texas had really bad. I mean, it was really bad for them. It wasn't bad for like us, but like all their power went out for like a week or
I was
something
gonna
like
say like
that,
what?
and hundreds of people died just because you know, it was too cold for them. They couldn't cook. They couldn't
That's
do anything. It's like
crazy.
those are the exact
I hate
moments
to
when
laugh
this
at that, but
knowledge. Yeah.
that's kind of funny. Like,
Well, it's a crazy concept for us because we're so used to snow all the time that we're like, oh, like this is what you do. Oh, we don't have to worry about that because our power systems are set up to deal with snow. But like they are just
yeah,
like,
that's
eh,
true.
whatever, and then everybody like dies for it.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So there's an example, a real world example of how easy this could
Yeah,
occur.
really, it is really. I mean, you think like it's uh, a civilized nation where we got technology, and I mean, it's crazy to think that with everything we have, that stuff happens.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. So it's like you don't have to think about the end of the world. You could just think of the practicalities and the practical use and
Yeah,
how
day to
important it
day.
is.
Like, I
Yeah.
mean, like I said, like we don't get it very often, but there's storms that come through that knock the power out, and
Hmm.
um, I don't think we've ever gone longer than a couple hours, but
Hmm.
I think the area that we live in, like people don't panic
Hmm.
as much.
Yeah,
So
because they kind of, I mean, they're used to it.
yeah, kind of like I don't know, cowboyish
Yeah,
in a way.
grew up with that kind of lifestyle, kind of
Yeah,
know what to do, that kind of thing. Whereas, like, where I'm at, a bunch of city people, I mean, if they grew up
which
in a
is
city
crazy
and their
because you're
parents grew
only
up in a
an
city,
hour and a half from me.
yeah, I know. The difference in knowledge and how people grew up is so different.
You got the city life. I got the country life.
I mean, to be honest, I'd prefer it over in Weezer. I actually really do like Weezer compared to like everywhere
It
else.
isn't. Quit telling everybody Weezer's nice.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Sucks
It
here.
sucks.
You don't want to move here.
It's just a bunch of yee cowboys.
I love Weezer. I love it.
Yeah,
It's such a good town. But it sucks here, so don't come here.
yeah, exactly.
Don't ruin my town.
Don't ruin my town.
No, it's really nice. Like I mean, you got like seriously, you got like 30 minutes away, and you got small town or small city, and then like another hour away, you got another. You're into the big city.
Hmm.
You got everything, and then you get every bit of weather,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
which I personally like a lot. Um, None of it bothers me. I mean, it does get some of it gets pretty extreme, but I do like that too. In the summer we can hit over 100, and in the winter we can.
Yeah. It's a
I
little
don't know
harsh.
that I've ever seen anything below zero, but
I'm pretty sure we've hit below zero a few times. Not like crazy below, but definitely below.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
But I mean, there again, survive. How do you survive that below zero
Yeah,
in a
it's
house?
That's definitely, yeah. You'd be surprised at how cold indoors can get as well.
I think I remember one time I got super cold. I don't remember what happened. But I put in the old house. I think you guys were there too. Um, I don't know if we lost heat or what it was. Remember that little fireplace that we had?
Hmm.
Um, remember that big old
Yeah,
archway?
yeah.
I put blankets over that, and everybody slept in the living room. I had that little fireplace going on. I know it was in the winter. I can't remember what happened, but I remember doing that to keep everybody warm.
I think I do remember something like that. It was
Survival of the fittest.
really, really cold in there. But
Yeah, it
yeah,
was cool.
yeah, that's important. So, I mean, this would be another cool topic to hit some other time as well, with knowing a little bit
What's that?
more. What?
What would be another?
Oh, just survival again, but in a
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I
more
mean, there's
targeted thing.
tons you can touch on that.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Maybe maybe I can do some research next time.
Yeah, we can both do a little research. I mean, my research was, oh, I watched a video, like 2 weeks ago.
Grantham. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So yeah, I
it's
think
been fun.
that's it for our month episode.
Our,
um,
our, our hourly, monthly.
yeah. Um,
That's a good
yeah,
topic, though.
I think it's just, yeah. I'd like to touch it again. I think maybe people that listen could maybe take a step back and think what have they done to be prepared for a situation where it might not be so easy anymore. If put it that way, like
Yep.
survival can literally just
Yeah.
be it's a little harder than last week. So
Yeah. Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
let us know
I
in the
like that.
comments and stuff like that. If you've done anything to prepare, or if you haven't, what you'd like to start with. I know there's a bunch more that I mean that I'd love to talk about, and hopefully we can do it again because this is actually an interesting topic that I like. But yeah, let us know what you've
Yeah.
done or if
Maybe.
you have done anything.
Yeah. Maybe we can like focus on certain
Hmm. Hmm.
aspects of it more. But yeah,
Yeah, this is kind of just a broad
let us
topic.
know.
Yeah, share it to other people, um, so maybe they can have inputs and give us what they think and things like that. But yeah, that's it from me.
That's it for me, bud.
Alrighty, make sure to like, share, follow, press all the
Push all the
buttons.
buttons.
Yep, and we'll see you next time.